All right, welcome everybody. Welcome back to the Whatever's Biting podcast. I'm your host, John Dalton. Also have my YouTube channel, Creek Fishing Adventures.
And I'm Ethan Duvetter, known on here as Fish Anything.
Yeah, we're just a couple. I guess we call ourselves multi-species anglers and pan fishing guys. Also, bass, muskie, whatever we want to catch. But kind of the goal of this podcast. This is our second one, and we're going to talk about what we've actually been catching or not catching. It's going to change every month. So it's going to be a monthly podcast kind of coming out. Right now, we're just putting it on the Creek Fishing Adventures YouTube channel. I am putting it on my Facebook, but I didn't get very many views on there. And we got 5,000 views on the YouTube channel. So I appreciate that. Hopefully, we'll have this on a podcast form, maybe coming up in a few months. Also, we had like 100 comments. So we're going to go over a few questions and comments. I'm going to talk about some stuff, just different things. I don't want to tell you everything. I don't want to ruin it, but we got a lot to talk about, and we're going to get right into it after we do a little quick intro. Ethan, what's been going on real quick this last January?
Okay, so I have not been fishing a lot. That's what's been going on here in Michigan. I'm in the southern part of Michigan, and we have had the most annoying weather for winter. We got a ton of snow, and then it got cold. So what happened is we got a little bit of ice with just a huge blanket of snow on it in our lakes. But unfortunately, after that, it's been very mild weather. So we really haven't had good, consistent ice fishing conditions. But then on the flip side, we've had so much precipitation that, like, if I wanted to try to go to like a trout stream that's open, it'd be totally blown out. So I feel like the conditions here have been very frustrating, to say the least. I've been quite busy anyways, but that's kind of what's going on, is I haven't really been able to fish a whole lot. What about you?
I was sick for half of January. I felt like,
Yeah.
it was crazy. I couldn't get over it. I went fishing. I did get a little bit of fishing in, and that's been like mainly the last week. Also, I went to Tennessee Fishing Expo and spent 2.5 days there, which was really cool.
Nice.
Met a lot of subscribers, and I'm really wanting to add more to that. Maybe have a booth and stuff next year. So I gotta. Well, I'm not gonna share it yet, but I got something. I got several things actually from it. So it was well worth going. I got something coming up. So some of y'all might be seeing it used, hopefully in February, maybe March. I got something really cool. It's gonna help me get to more fishing places. But I crossed 150,000 subscribers on YouTube. So
Nice
I was
work,
pretty
man.
pumped.
Congratulations.
I was looking back. That's pretty cool. I was looking at my growth, and I was just looking at it today. It's just like a stream, just a steady slant. It's like barely wavers. So it's kind of awesome. But I was going to talk about real quick was, and I just want to get your opinion on this. We're moving into February, and before we talk about what we're going to fish for, February. I hate February. I feel like February has got to be the worst month to fish. That's just my opinion. What do you think about that? Is that there's got to be a worst month? There has to be one month that's the worst.
I think there's a worst month everywhere. It's going to vary based on where you live. And for me, I always kind of dread November, because
really
that's when things get so cold here, but nothing is like solidified to where there's really no good solid fishing season for me. Sometimes November can be okay for certain types of fishing, maybe some yellow perch, but usually it's just pretty slow for me. So February is usually a month that I'm okay with, because usually we would have decent ice. Like we would have a whole month of ice fishing, but I have slush on the top of the water. And so like at this point, based on the weather, I'm kind of like, look, if we get some more sun, the ice might be entirely gone, and I might be able to take out my kayak. And I'm pretty sure that once I have ice out, I feel like I can catch definitely yellow perch, and then maybe a couple bass in the mix. So either way, I am very much excited for February. We just need consistent warmth, and we'll see what happens.
If you don't know, I'm in East Tennessee, so we're quite a different ways away, and February is like the end of winter for us, sort of. But so it's a weird transition. Like November and even December,
Yeah.
I've had really good fishing days, And November, I've realized is actually that's one of our best like bigger river like smallmouth fishing. But something about February, I have no idea where the fish are doing. I can never find anything usually, and it's hard. It's probably the hardest month for me to make videos in my area. Just trying to consistently find fish because they move around so much. But
Sure.
speaking of fish, we got some news. So if here's something that you can send in if you want to, maybe comment it. If you have some news that you're like, hey, I saw this newspaper article or I saw this news in the pan fishing world. This is going to be interesting. So I sent this to Ethan when I saw it. I was like, this is kind of stuff we want to talk about. So the Maryland state record fish was one of the Maryland state record fish was broken in January. The rock bass.
All right.
Now, I know you love a good old rock eye.
Rock on.
Also, a lot of people call them red eye bass. But
That is inaccurate.
Yeah. More people probably understand red eye bass, but it's a rock bass. And did I send you this? Did you see how big it was?
Yeah, it was. I don't remember how much it was exactly, but it was just a little over a pound, wasn't it?
1 pound even.
See, I guess
Maryland, out of the Susquehanna River that has monster smallmouth.
Yeah, they must not grow rock bass as big as some places because I feel like 1 pound isn't that exciting. But maybe I'm crazy. I don't know.
When I saw this picture looks really big, I was like, oh. But when I read it, I was shocked because I have caught a bigger rock bass in Tennessee than that. It said it was 1 pound. I think somewhere it said 12 inches. And I know I've caught them 12 and a half. And I know I've caught them over a pound and I've weighed them myself.
Yeah. Yeah, I've caught them that big. I don't know like how much bigger, but I feel like I've definitely caught 1 pound plus rock bass. But I think it's different, right? Maryland versus Michigan. I'm sure that Michigan rock bass probably just get bigger, right? But yeah, it's kind of an underwhelming record, I would say.
I know. I was shocked. I was like, that's it?
I bet I am willing to bet that there's been a greater than 1 pound rock bass caught in Maryland, but nobody cared to report it because they didn't really think much of it. And that, my friends, is what we're looking to change with this podcast.
That's right.
The goal is for people to appreciate all species of fish. So here's to you, Maryland rock bass record holder. Thank you for reporting it. Now, the next person that catches one over a pound, I hope they report it too.
Yeah, he looked really happy catching that. I was like, that's awesome. Really happy catching a 1 pound fish. And that's what we're all about. If the state record's 6 ounces, dude, go try to beat that. And we got a couple that are like 6 ounce, like some kind of sunfish. I forgot which one it was, but I had a creek that I thought they were bigger than that, and I went and tried to catch them, and I'm like 3 ounces. Like, how do you even weigh a fish like that? But I weighed a couple, and they weren't as big as I thought. But no, that was really cool. So if anybody has anything like that, you want to report, we'd love hearing it. It's shiners, chubs, a bass, anything like that. It's kind of cool.
All of it.
But who was it? I was fishing in Arkansas with Cole from Cole and J Channel, and his buddy, I can't think of his name right now. He says he's going to catch the state record skipjack. So it's not very big over there. I'm like, we have a lot bigger skipjack here. So it was like 2 pounds or something like that, or 2.5 pounds. And he's like, I'm going to catch it. I'm like, that's kind of, I love, people going for stuff like that.
Yeah. I've never caught one of those before. That's cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I caught one a couple days ago. I caught a big one. Oh, I should have waited. I caught a big one the other day, but I went out fishing. This is like a week ago. This is right before February. Of course, I go out, I fish like 4 hours, catch 2 fish, a skipjack and 1 yellow perch, actually. So.
Okay.
But anyways, let's move on to questions and comments. Like I said,
right.
we got a lot going on. We're gonna get through. I'm gonna have a few comments, just a couple, and then I got some questions that we will both try to answer. And then we got more fishing stuff to talk about. So let me get the first one. Is Christopher James 9843 says the Twin Towers. so Ethan, I know you're talking. I got something real funny about this. So at the fishing expo, I guarantee you I had no less than 5 people say, wow, you're a lot taller than I thought.
Oh my gosh.
And one of them was my buddy's wife. She was there, and she's like, wow, you're a lot taller. You look so short in the video. I was like, what? Like, thanks a lot.
Yeah, I don't
So
understand that. How can you even possibly gauge height in a video? Especially like to me, I feel like people should know you're tall because your body takes up your entire kayak, and that's like it's pretty easy to tell that I feel like. But hey,
if
I
you
get
don't know,
that comment a
I'm
lot
six.
too.
I'm a legit 6'4" and like 230 pounds, probably a little more than that. And Ethan's a little taller than me.
And I'm less weight too.
Yeah, but yeah, you can look at our 12-foot kayak and look at how much room we take up.
Yeah.
Also, that's so funny. Whenever you're holding a fish up, I could be holding like a 3.5 pound bass.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that's a 1 pound fish. I'm like,
I
no, I
know.
got huge hands. All right.
I had a college fishing buddy that he was huge. I mean, he wasn't like an overweight guy. He was like just a really strong, like built dude. And he'd be holding like 3 pounders. And again, it's like you kind of like, what is that? Like a 14-inch bass? Like, no, this is like 18 and a half inches. It's a solid fish. But it's all about comparison, I guess.
Yeah. It can be make video. So the size of the fish sometimes is important. That's why, like, if you have board, here's a comment. From
I'm
Steve.
I'm getting a lot of feedback and it's broken up. Can you hear me?
My Wi-Fi. Hold on a second.
You're good.
I'm figure. I have not. I can't figure what's going on. It's just lit. In a second, it should click back up. It's just glitching on me, but it's not out.
Okay, so I've got an idea. So my guess is at some point there, it's gonna be. Uh-oh. Still recording. Okay.
Finally froze up. Now we're back.
There we go. So at some point there, that's gonna break up and be weird. I would say you might stop recording, and then this will be like part one, and then we'll can you patch them together?
No,
Or
I can edit it afterwards. It's easy.
okay. So this is a good opportunity. Were you gonna do today's video is brought to you by nature? I mean, if you're gonna do it, now would be a good time because then you can patch it in there. Because then we can naturally transition to the next topic because I don't know what we got. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. I think it'll. Anyways, yeah, that's fine. I'll do it one more time. I still haven't really contacted anybody, so I'm gonna try to work on that.
Well, we can do something else. I'm
just gonna go to the next comment. If I miss the first one, I think it'll work. I think it'll because it records it, and it might look blurry. It still records it though.
okay.
All right.
Okay.
I'm just gonna
Well, just
go
make
to
sure
the
to
next one.
cut this.
If I end up missing,
make sure to cut this part out because that would be weird.
I'm definitely cutting this out. But if I end up missing, it'll just miss like maybe the first comment, and
Okay.
and that'll be fine.
All right. Right.
Here we go. All right. So we got a comment and a question from Stephen Powell 7007. Thanks for listening and watching. Said, glad you guys are doing a podcast. Loved listening at work. So he must have listened through YouTube because we're not on anything else yet. But he has a question. Here's my question. And this is a little bit different. So this is kind of well, you'll see. So he says, I live in Southeast Tennessee. That's kind of my area. Grew up multi-species fishing with my dad. I just bought a fishing kayak and would like to start practicing for tournaments. I would imagine bass tournaments. What tips do you have for a guy like me who's never fished a tournament, but is super interested in giving it a shot? I can start or you can start.
I'll go first, but then I'll let you go because he's probably going to have even better advice than me because he actually does a lot of tournament fishing. But I want to start by saying I used to do a lot of tournament fishing. When I was in college, I was on the college fishing team at Kansas State University. So even though I've only done a couple kayak tournaments, I get the mentality for tournament fishing. So hopefully this will help it to an extent. I think the biggest thing is like, don't overhype anything. Don't stress out too much about like, oh, I've got to buy a bunch of gear and I've got to organize it and I've got to be all prepared and I've got to do tons of research. Don't get me wrong. It's important to be prepared. It's important to, do your research and stuff. But at the end of the day, the best I ever perform in like fishing tournaments is when I just go out there and I tell myself, I'm just going to go fishing like it's a normal day. And you don't overthink things, just go out there and fish how you're used to fishing and fish your confidence, and don't overhype the thing. And I trust that you're going to have a great time out there. And even if you don't perform well in a tournament, you're still out there fishing and you're probably going to meet some folks. So that's always a good opportunity. But I've always actually done my best when I'm not overthinking it and I just go fishing. So that's my perspective.
Yeah, that's awesome. And don't think that everybody else knows more than you or are catching bigger fish than you. Don't think that because that usually doesn't happen. Now, if your goal is to win tournaments, I feel like that's a different mentality than just getting into it and just not wanting to be like, well, I don't want to come in last. And that was my goal when I started a couple, 3-4 years ago. And I did not grow up fishing bass tournaments. Didn't grow up fishing for bass. Most fishing I did was with worms on the bottom of the river or creek or something, and maybe in a pond or something. So when I started like my first kayak tournaments, I was like, my confidence in myself was, I know I can catch a fish. I can go out there and catch a fish, and that's all you gotta do. Just go out there and just try to catch a fish. Catch that first one, then your second one, third one, or however many your limit is. And in kayaking, it's usually like 3 or 5. And some days you don't catch 5 bass. And then some days you catch 5 bass easy, and the guy that usually wins it doesn't catch 5. So the first thing is just get signed up and show up and meet some people. You learn so much by just meeting the guys, and most everybody's going to help you out. Doesn't matter what ramp you put in. Doesn't matter what you think the fish are doing. Just go out there and just try to catch some fish. And most of the time, everybody I've known that has gotten into it is so like, oh, this is so much easier. Now, maybe not winning. That's not. I mean, winning is tough, but just getting into it and competing, it's not that hard. And keep multi-species fishing because you might break a state record. So. All right, one more. I got one more question here. Let's see here. Yeah, I'll do this one, and we may have covered it a little bit, and then we're gonna move on. 219 Bass Hole Fishing says, Ethan, just curious, let's see here, I can't read. Do you do any ice fishing over the winter? And if so, what species do you target? John, have you ever done any ice fish? Wow. Have you ever done any ice fishing? Maybe you should come up north and give it a try. So I technically haven't ever done ice fishing. I have fished with there's ice chunks in the river. And going up north and doing it is a goal that I might do one day.
Yeah. Well, I have, and I do usually ice fish, but as I mentioned earlier, it's just these last couple of years, it's been so mild. We just have not gotten the weather. So I don't live in an area like, Wisconsin, Minnesota, where you see people out ice fishing and they're, living on the water for a few days. They've got a truck out there. The ice in my area is always, I'd say the most I've ever found is like maybe 10 inches of ice, but usually I'm out there throughout the course of the winter on like 5 to 6 inches of ice. And this year we don't even have enough, really. So, I mean, I could have drove north and went, but yeah, it's just very much a hit or miss location, just depending on what the weather's like throughout the winter. But when I do go ice fishing, I always just kind of go for whatever panfish. You never really know what's going to be, swimming through on a given day. So every now and again, if you're lucky, maybe the crappie will be really going and you can crush a bunch of crappie, and that's a blast. But usually I would say bluegill and definitely a lot of yellow perch. Yellow perch are just very active throughout the winter. They're a cold water fish, so they're always kind of a fun one. And I like them because I feel like they're usually a little easier to find. And the way that you can make them bite by kind of like jigging off the bottom pretty aggressively is a lot of fun. Sometimes you have to be extremely like slow and methodical with the bluegill, and that can be kind of painful. So anyways, yeah, unfortunately didn't get to ice fish this year. I only got one trip last year, so we'll see where the future takes us.
What's the biggest thing you've caught through the ice?
Caught some nice pike just randomly. Like everybody always tells me that I got to start doing like tip ups for pike, which is basically like the flag that pops up and you like hand line them in. I've never done any of that. I've only caught pike when I'm just randomly catching panfish and they just happen to get hooked and not snap my line. Other than that, I've caught some probably 3 to 4 pound bass, which is always an absolute riot. Um, but yeah, that's about the size, the biggest ones I've caught.
Do you watch Meat Eater?
I've gone in little
Or
spurts.
Jay Siemens, I think his name is.
Yeah, I've watched a little bit of both those guys. Yeah.
I like he lives in Canada and they make a lot of ice fishing videos
Oh yeah.
and they make them really fun and I like their pace and if you're looking for ice fishing videos to watch like that's those two make some I enjoy watching them.
Yeah.
Usually they got like everything and plus there's 2-3 people and they got a shack or whatever but and they caught I've seen them catch fish I didn't even know where like that they were fish burbot or whatever like that.
Oh,
I'm like,
burbot, yeah, or
like I don't even know.
burbot, burbot.
I don't know if I've ever
Yeah.
seen that. Like, what is that? I don't even know.
Apparently they taste super good, but yeah, they're like an old fish, kind of neat looking thing. But yeah, we have them here in
Yeah.
Michigan.
Oh,
I've
really?
never caught one. I feel
Oh,
like you pretty much only catch them maybe ice fishing. I don't know much about that fish.
yeah.
And I don't think we really have them in my area. But yeah, definitely lots to be learned from ice fishing, whether you're ever going to do it or not. You can learn a lot about just like how fish behave and specifically when in the colder water season. I mean, people up north are catching bass and bluegill and crappie and a lot of these fish that are also down south. Just because they're doing it through the ice doesn't mean that you can't learn a few things that you can be doing in open water too. Um, and I can talk about that more as we kind of get to some of the techniques that we're probably going to share here in a little bit.
Yeah. I got to go with Spencer River Certified um, and fish with live scope. And it's the first time I've done that. And now I already kind of knew this, but you don't never know. When we were in this creek channel, it's like 50 foot wide, 10 foot deep, and like looking through the bottom, the whole bottom is just fish. There's just fish. Like what are they? I don't know. And we fished for like 6 hours. I caught 4 crappie, and it was brutal. But you would see fish follow your bait and like how they come to it. I think they're mostly bluegill. That's what I'm thinking. They look pretty small, or they were a little small crappie. But and the water was half the creek was frozen. So this was when like a really cold spell, like a couple weeks ago. But I think the cold affects fish differently when they get more used to it and get more settled into it.
Oh, for sure.
And then that's where like in the South when it gets cold, or like say Florida.
Oh yeah.
I've gone to Florida and it's gotten like if it gets to like 50 overnight, those fish will like just shut off.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. So it just the cold's relative and to where you're at and how it affects
Absolutely.
things. All right, that's all our comments. So if you have a comment or question, put those in there, and we'll pick a few. Ethan's picking the next one, so next week we'll see
Right
what he
on.
has. Do what?
I said right on. I get a pick.
Oh,
I'm gonna pick
that's
some
right,
hard
so,
ones. Well, give us some really hard questions.
there was
And
a
I'm
bunch
gonna
of softies that I passed over. I was like, come on, we got to nah.
give me something challenging. Put us on the spot a little bit. I'm not gonna tell John the questions. I'm gonna really put him on the spot, and we're gonna see him squirm.
That's what that's what you tune in for right here. Let's move on to my favorite segment that we're planning to do every episode is what is the last fish you caught and what did you catch it on? And you want me to start or you want to start?
You go ahead.
All right, because I caught it yesterday. So let me give you the little build up to it. So we actually had like 3 days in a row where it got up to like 55, 60 degrees. I was in short sleeves yesterday and I was like, this is awesome. Fish should be biting like crazy. So I go to this creek that I have a stretch that I wade that in the summertime, like I'll catch 10 to 15, 12 to 15 inch bass, like easily. It's a little half-mile stretch. It's a rocky bottom. It's a cool little section that I found that's kind of in between these businesses. I go there. I'm like, I'm putting the waders on. I'm gonna get in here and I'm gonna catch some fish. Well, took 2 hours and I caught one 8-inch bass. But I was like, well, I'm just gonna hop over to the river because there's a big river pretty close. I went over to the riverbank. I'm fishing and kind of just I'm targeting like white bass or bluegill or crappie. I kind of have a couple rods, a few different lures. I caught some little crappie, and then I get on this school of like a 7-inch crappie, and I bet I caught 15 in Well, it was like 10 of them in like 12 casts. And, and I was fishing so slow. I could like barely see the structure underwater, about 6 feet off the bank and about 4 or 5 foot of water. I could barely see something there. So I'm just like barely moving my lure in. And we, boom, I'm like, oh, 6 inch crappie, boom, 5 inch, 8 inch. And I got in a rhythm. I caught like 8 in a row. But like, it's like from cast to catch was like 30 seconds because it took so long. But that was I was hoping for any big ones. I think I made the biggest may have been like 9, 10 inches. But it was something where, like I said, like usually in February, I'm just trying to catch a fish, and it was fun to get on about 15 crappie that they were all tiny, but it was a cool little thing. I fished about 10 feet away, and then a few feet away this way. I no bites other than this one
Mm-hmm.
little section, and I left, tried some other stuff, came back, and it took me a while to find them. They had moved like 2 feet, I felt like, and then I got
Yeah.
on a few more of them. So I was
It's
catching them on.
amazing. I was just gonna say I've had the same experience with crappie. Like you just get on like have to be the same cast every time. So that's really cool to hear that you've had that same experience.
And it was funny because the water was pretty clear, but they were just out of like sight. I couldn't see them, but as soon as they hit, they would like come up into where I could see them. So I don't know how many were sitting down there. And I was just thinking about stuff, and I'm like, it's kind of cool. And I'm like, how many are in there? Like, how many crappie are down there? Are they all sitting side by side? Stuff like that. And then and I was fishing a what size? I think it was like a 1/48 ounce. It's a really light jig head.
Hmm.
And I'm actually going to show you that the rod and reel setup at the end here that I caught them on, and um, and I was using a demolition baits lure, and it's a new lure. I just saw them at the tackle store, and I picked them up. They're little like crappie lures, about 2 inch, and it was just a gray like shad pattern, and that was pretty fun. I was like, because I've been out a lot recently and haven't been catching them, but I've also been looking for those white bass, but yeah, it was fun to get on those crappie.
Right on. Well, that's really cool. I am very excited for more crappie fishing this year. I love crappie, and like I said, I've had similar experiences where it's like when you get one, then you catch 10, all of a sudden 15 all in one spot. That's so hard to beat. I don't even care that they're small. I mean, who cares that you got small fish? I mean,
I know.
just constant action in the cold weather, man, that's not something a lot of people have the luxury of doing. So good for you. As far as me, I just really have not had a chance to fish much. So I can't say I have a great recent example. What I can tell you is I think last time in this podcast, I talked about the slip float rig catching me some perch.
Mhm.
Um, well, it was maybe a day or two after we had recorded that episode, and I was able to get back out there. And again, I had the exact same slip float rig rigged up. And I ended up making a video on this. So people have probably, some of the people that are listening to this may have already seen the video. But the last couple of fish that I caught I caught a nice largemouth bass on the slip float rig. And then I caught a really dinky yellow perch on a drop shot. Now, I think the interesting thing, the thing that I really wanted to talk about with that bass, though, is I was getting to the point with the drop shot. I was fishing my drop shot just real slow, and I'm like, all right, let's see here. Let me cast out my slip float and just let it sit. I'm just gonna let it sit, and I'm gonna keep working my drop shot back. Well, my slip float rig with a little, it's like the horsefly from Mule Fishing was just sitting underneath that, and it was sitting there for probably 90 seconds, I would say, just sitting. And then my float starts to bounce. And so I drop my drop shot rod real quick. I grab my other rod, reel down, and I hit him. And it's like that bass, it was a nice, like, I don't know, 2.5 pound bass or whatever. Really solid, healthy fish. But he needed that thing to just be sitting there for a long time. Now, water temperature here was pretty minimal, right? I don't know, like high 30s, maybe mid 30s. So at the end of the day, I think the learning, kind of going back to the ice fishing talk we were talking about earlier, is that, this time of year, whether it's open water or ice fishing, there are fish that are just going to respond to very, very slow vertical presentations. That's what happens with ice fishing. People catch a lot of fish ice fishing. The thing that they're doing is they are keeping a bait in the strike zone for a long, long time. If you can find a way of doing that in the South or just across the country in general in open water to where you're keeping a bait in front of that fish and you do that confidently, you're usually going to get, it's going to pay off. I think a problem a lot of us have is the fishing gets really hard when the water's really cold, but that's because maybe we didn't adjust enough. Maybe we're still fishing maybe a little too fast. And I definitely used to be that way growing up in Kansas. I just never did well when it was cold. But now that I live in Michigan, I feel like I've kind of opened my eyes to how fish actually act in the cold weather. And so I'd be very curious if I could go back and try some of this stuff in other places as well. Anyways, that was my quick story.
I people ask me a lot about creek fishing down here in the wintertime. And I did a video last month where I went out and caught some shiners. But it's amazing how, like, I have couple creeks that are crystal clear. You can see everything, and you won't see a sunfish, any kind of sunfish species. Like, you won't see them because the water's pretty shallow, like 2-3 foot deep. Now, yesterday when I was wading that creek for bass, I did see sunfish in some of the holes that were about 3.5 feet, like a little bit deeper holes. I was in the wader, so as soon as I got to my waist or higher, I would see some sunfish moving around. But like shallower than that, they weren't there, and it's just so funny how they just are so different, and they can do. And then I've had days bass fishing in the winter where, like, I'm fishing a ledge or something. I know there's a bass there, like, just from fishing, and you just have to leave your lure there and just let it sit. And I've actually been outfished from my buddies doing that one time. He's throwing a jig, it's hitting the bottom faster and sitting longer, where I'm throwing a lure that's kind of just barely moving, and he's catching fish and I'm not. Just that little bit of difference. That's what I like about fishing all year. Where I used to never winter fish, just learning how different species react, and there's different things going on. But hopefully next month, Ethan will have caught more fish. That's his goal. But so what do you plan to target? You got February. What are you planning to target in February? What are you looking forward to fishing?
Yeah. As far as February goes, I've been pretty busy with my actual day job too. So that's been hard to find time. But this month, I'm feeling extremely optimistic because, like I said, these last couple of days, it's been really warm. So I'm really going to just put it out there that I'm going to be able to open water fish a little bit. Ask me again in a month, right? We'll see what happens. Like, there's nothing guaranteed here, but I'd say, like, some of the first things that I'm really excited to do is I want to catch just really whatever panfish I can find. I feel like yellow perch would be a lot of fun. I know the water temperature is going to be cold, so it's not going to, there's just certain things I'm not going to be able to do. So I'm going to focus on what I can do. And I would say if I can catch some yellow perch, I'll put it out there that, yes, the slip float rig will be a player, but I'm also going to focus on a spoon. So hold me accountable throughout the course of February. I'd love to catch some ice out yellow perch on a spoon. I love me a Castmaster. Those things are great. Fingers crossed. Now we just need the conditions.
I have no confidence in spoons, and I don't know. I mean, I've used them in saltwater, but, like, are you casting and retrieving that? Or are you, like, jigging it, letting it fall?
Yeah, honestly, I don't have a ton of confidence in spoons outside of cold water. For whatever reason, I've started to gain a little bit of confidence in them. But just specifically the Castmaster, like the light ones, right? Like 1/24th, 1/32nd, 1/16th, like those smaller Castmasters, if you get them on like super ultralight line, they cast pretty well and they just have a better action and they're so subtle. So I don't really retrieve them. Like, I don't like reel them or anything. I let them settle to the bottom and then I kind of just pop them up a couple times. I reel up my slack, let it settle, kind of like pop it up a couple times, but you don't want to overdo it, right? Because you're still fishing cold water fish. And that's been good for me. Usually, when I'm fishing those kinds of things, I'll catch an occasional bass, but I would say like yellow perch is usually what I'm kind of focused on. You never know. I feel like they'll catch just about anything though.
I don't think I've ever. I don't even know if I've seen spoons that light. Like I don't. Maybe a regional
Oh,
thing.
oh
Like
I don't know. You're wearing a discount tackle. There, next time you order from Discount
uh,
Tackle, just type in Castmaster spoon. Like they're
they got all
very
kinds of them, huh?
inexpensive.
Yeah.
Grab a couple of I think the hammered gold. That's one's always been good to me. So it's got the little like indentions on the side, but it's just gold. I think they make it down to like literally a 1/32nd,
Oh,
1/24th.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I'm
very
getting one of
light.
those. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
try
look
it.
that up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you one more thing. I forgot what it was. I'll think of it here in a minute. But
What are
so
you gonna catch in February, John?
100%, this is gonna happen. I'm catching yellow perch. So
Yeah.
I'm actually was in 2 days. Um, I'm going overnight camping trip. If it works out, we're still me and Alex Rudd are supposed to do it. Josh Shot might show up, but I got a couple people. We're trying to. I'm like I've been wanting to do an overnight camping trip, and it's supposed to get down to like 30 at night, but the high is supposed to be like 55. So I'm like I need to do something different. I'm trying to change it up. And if y'all don't know that are listening, like Ethan has a regular full time job, and all I do is YouTube. So I get to do a lot more. I can do a lot more trips and be a lot more flexible, go more places. It's obviously that's how you catch more fish. You go fish a lot more. That's the biggest difference. So I'm going. There's this lake in Tennessee that I've never seen. I've never been to any lake like it. There's so many yellow perch in there, and there's people that know about it, but it's like it's tiny little like one little access. Like, and if you ask me the name of it, I won't tell anybody because there's nowhere to park. You can get like 3 vehicles down there, and the whole parking lot the area is full. You can't pull a trailer in it. You can't back around, but it's tiny, and there's just like an endless amount of yellow perch. People go up there and catch 50, 60, keep them, and you never have to like you might have to like look around for them, but they're always in this flat. There's like a flat area, 6 to 3 foot of water,
Hmm.
and they'll be there. You get blown around, but I'll catch them on anything. It doesn't even matter really. It's a
Really?
matter of just getting on that school of them.
It's
But I usually
crazy.
use like crappie lures or worms. If I want to use worms, that's fine too. I've caught them on bass lures. They'll just they're pretty aggressive, and there's just tons of them. So a goal is to go catch them, do a catch and cook, and then maybe fish for them again the next day, or maybe try bass fishing. But if I don't catch the bass, I know I can catch yellow perch. And the next thing I want to catch is I mean I do have a kayak tournament coming up in next weekend, so I want to catch some bass, but I really want to target white bass. Now I did get on some. The video might not be out yet, or it might be if I don't know if you've seen this yet. But I got on some white bass. They were in this and that's something that a lot of people are probably going to be looking for around my area this time. February to April, we get a lot of white bass that come up this river near me, and they go
So
up in the
jealous.
creek channels, but they don't go very far up our creeks. They might go up 100 yards, most of them, and they don't
Hmm.
really go much further than that. Most of their time, they're right at the creek mouth, and
Hmm.
that's where I caught about 10 of them the other day, right at the edge of where the river, like where the creek meets the river. And I was throwing a underspin,
Hmm.
and they were just thump, thump. They're like 12, 13 inchers.
I love white bass. They're
Yeah.
such fun fish. Like I grew up in Kansas and I have a ton of experience catching white bass. See, that's something though that I've never really done is like the white bass run. Like I feel like I've always just fished them on in reservoirs. So like
Yeah.
I'm so jealous of you because I want to do that so bad.
I know that they're in like some of these lakes, but I don't ever go out in a boat, and on a kayak, I don't really know where they go to get them. But like I know from about February to April, they're in the area, and each day is different though. I can go there one day, catch them, next day nothing. I
Hmm.
don't know what they do, but if you can get on them, that's one of the most fun fish to just be just thumping, 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 because
They
there's a
fight
lot
hard.
of them. Yeah, I love. They're one of the if those things like lived in creeks year round, I would just fish for them instead of bass because they hit so hard when they hit,
And you can catch a
and they're
million of
really
them
fun.
too. Yeah, they
Yeah,
school up a ton. They fight hard for their size. They hit hard. Very aggressive fish, fun fish.
yeah. I caught a few of them on a little crappie lure with a TFO rod with 4-pound line, and they were just dogging that thing.
That would
I was
be
like, this is maybe
fun.
a little underpowered. They're just like holding it down. Then I caught a couple on my bass rod, and they're still hit that thing pretty good. But any other things you want to talk about fishing before I show you? Oh, I forgot something too. Here, let me little addendum. Is that the word? Little something. The Tennessee the rock bass. We were talking about rock bass
Yeah,
before I
yeah,
show you my little rod. The Tennessee state record. You want to guess what it is?
yeah. 1 pound and 10 ounces.
2 pounds 8 ounces.
Oh, duh.
Yeah,
Let's
I
check.
would like to
I
catch one
bet.
like that.
Let's see. Let's see what the Michigan one is here.
I
Bear
got it
with
written
me.
down.
Oh, you already got it? Can I
Yeah,
guess?
yeah.
3 pounds 1 ounce.
Oh, 3.6 pounds. It
My
says
goodness.
it was 20 inches long.
Oh my gosh.
That
Oh my
that
gosh.
I want
I
to
don't,
catch fish
I
like
don't know if
that.
I believe that fully.
That's
So I'm just gonna say I don't understand that proportion. 3.6
yeah.
pounds and 20 inches long as a rock bass build. I don't. That doesn't make sense. That should be like 6 pounds just because they're so fat. Like
Yeah.
20 inches. I don't know. That's tough. That thing
That's
is
what I was wondering.
massive.
I've heard there's big ones up in some of those rivers up in Michigan. I've heard that people catch like 2 pounders and stuff pretty common some
Yeah,
places, but
I've caught some nice ones, but I've
I
never
think
caught
it's northern Michigan.
20 inches. I feel like it is absurd. That's
Yeah,
wild.
I was like, I don't see how that can be right.
Those proportions don't feel so. Okay, you're going to talk about something that you're excited to fish with. Okay,
Yeah,
and
it's
let
something
me
that's been
see this.
working good for me
And then
recently.
make sure to explain it too, because they're going to be future listeners that aren't
That's right.
necessarily seeing this.
All right. If you're not watching this, I am holding in my hand an ultralight rod. This is a rod. This setup right here. I'm going to describe. I caught all those crappie on it the other day. This is what I caught them on.
Yeah,
I kind of just put it together here recently and been messing around, and I've been having a blast fishing with it. So I have a aggressively average anglers ultralight rod. So it's a rod made. If you don't know who the aggressively average anglers are, that's a YouTube channel. Paul and Jeff. They do all kinds. They're like us. Hopefully, we will have them on the show because they're
that'd be good.
multi-species guys and they love catching all kinds of stuff. And that's kind of people we want to get on here every once in a while. But this one alt rod is made by Monster Bass. It's 6 foot long and it's a ultralight, moderate fast, rated for 2 to 10 pound lines. What it says. So a six, and I know Ethan loves a 6 foot ultralight rod. It's just a great size. Now I put a Shimano Miraville reel. I know some of y'all, if you can't see this, I'm looking at it, and it's a 1,000 size reel. I think it's a 5:2 to 1 gear ratio. I love the Shimano's. Their 1,000 size is probably bigger than some reels. So if you've never used like the Shimano 1,000 size, it's not tiny. And I'm not a big fan of 500 size reels. I feel like they're
No.
just so small. But this one is a 1,000 size reel. I have 2 pound. It's actually the mono that you told me about. Is it Sensolite? Is that what you called it? I
Trilene
don't.
sensation.
Yes, that's it right there. Exactly what he
Was
told.
it the one I gave you? I
It
gave
may
you
have
a
been.
tool of this.
I had it on my desk. I don't know where it came from.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So this is the one you gave me. 2 pound line, and it is so much fun to fish with. I've caught a lot of fish here, and the few times I did catch fish on it, I caught like 15 bluegill on it. But I was using right now I have a 1/24 ounce jig head, and this is the bait, demolition bait. It looks like just a little crappie lure.
Yeah, a little minnow.
Something small enough that a bluegill can get in its mouth, but it's really made for like crappie or something like that. But I think I was throwing the 1/48 ounce jig head, a really, really light jig head when I was catching those crappie the other day. But
Nice.
you can throw 1/16 on here, and you're fine. But I like throwing 1/32 or even 1/64 on here. You can still, with this 2 pound line, 1/64. I was throwing a trout magnet, a 1/64 ounce jig head, and you can throw it pretty as far as you
Yeah.
need to throw a trout magnet, anyways.
Yeah.
Especially for bank fishing. Now, if you're fishing out of a boat and you're like, you might want a longer rod and a heavier jig head to get it down deeper. But most of the time when I'm fishing with something like this, I'm fishing in 4 to 6 foot of water, making 20-foot casts. maybe 30-foot cast, something like that. And I caught a couple white bass on this. They weren't even big ones, but I was afraid about breaking the line. Now, this reel is $129, and if you, I made a video about it, so I've already talked about this a couple times in videos. But if you're wanting to get, this is my advice for a 2-pound line, try it out. I think everybody needs to try it. First thing you do is take it in your hands and just break it. Take two sides of it and just pop it and see how easy. It's like, wow, that breaks easy. But take it and put a little stress on it. You're like, okay, it can pop easy, but it can hold up, especially on an ultralight rod with a bend, especially with a reel that has a good drag. Now, that's you want to. That's why I bought that reel. It's $129, I think. Shimano Mirror was a pretty solid reel. Well, to me, anyways. Like some people, they're going to go a lot higher, but I don't want to put it on like a $40 reel because the drag system, if it just hangs a little bit, you can break off a 2-pound line. But I've been having a blast with that setup. I am here recently, just because you can just anything you catch is fun on it. Like a little 4-inch bluegill to a 10-inch white bass, or those 6 and 7 and 8-inch crappie. It's been really fun. So that's my little rod and reel setup of the month. I think Ethan's got something to show.
Well, I have a rod and reel setup too. Now I have to actually give a shout out. I got this from a viewer, so awesome. I kind of feel bad because I literally have to look up his name to remember who it was. I think it was Tony. But either way, he sent me a rod and reel to be used because he's such a big fan of this rod and reel that he really wanted me to show it on my channel. So stay tuned. I guess this is a bit of a teaser because there will be a video on this specific setup. This is the first time I've ever used a KastKing product outside of the Zephyr BFS reel. So this is the KastKing Kestrel Ultralight.
Oh,
this is a 5.5 foot rod.
Okay.
Which I'm stoked about. Wait, I think 5.5, maybe a little less, 5.2, maybe. But it is a short little rod, but it's rated for 1 to 3 pound line, which I like. And then he actually sent me the matching reel, the Kestrel. And so this is like a shallower spool model, which is something I really, really like because I think it helps with the line lay. And it also you don't have to put as much line on it. So from a casting standpoint, if you've got really solid line lay, that's going to help with more distance. It's going to reduce line twist, that sort of thing. So that's good. And then lastly, he literally sent me the line too, which he's a big KastKing guy. It's some 13X, some kind of braided fishing line. It's a 6-pound braid, very low diameter. All in all, I have played around with it. So I didn't talk about this as the last fish I caught because I didn't catch a fish that day, but I did technically try just about a week ago, and I was playing around with the setup. And I can already tell you that everything's looking quite good. So stay tuned. Maybe in the next month, 2 months, I'll be able to actually put some content out around it. But I kind of had a preconceived idea of what I thought KastKing was, and I think that this setup made me feel a little bit different. So very excited to play around with it more, put a little flex in it, and then eventually bring a video on the rod.
That's really cool. And that's a good KastKing has really stepped up their quality in the last few years. And I've used some of their stuff a few years ago. And then I actually went down to iCast this summer and saw their new Kestrel stuff and picked up several of the rods and reels. And I could tell a big difference from their older stuff. I was like, this, and they're making so much stuff geared towards that. I didn't know that was rated for 1 to 3 pounds. That's really cool. Like they're making quality stuff for really light action, ultralight fishing.
Yeah. His name is Tony, so I had to verify that. Thanks again, Tony. But yes, really I think that I always kind of thought it was a little bit more. I just didn't think it was going to be high quality. I thought it was going to be a little bit more lower price point, and it was going to kind of show. But to your point, I really think they probably stepped it up. So I have to give them a shout out. I mean, the product feels really good. Again, hopefully it doesn't explode on a fish, but I don't think it will. I think it's going to be a great setup. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's very good. All right, well, there's a couple little shout outs and little rod and reel stuff, and I'll try to leave some of the information below. And a lot of that, you just if you want to find something, just Google it. and see where it's at. Sometimes some of these stores, some of the stuff we talk about may be more niche where it might not be on every website. Sometimes, so or like you can't, a lot of the stuff you can't just go to Bass Pro and buy it. Some of the stuff we're going to talk about, so you can look it up, Google it, and you'll find it. But well, that's all I got for this month, I believe. What was your goals? My goal. Oh, did I say my goal? My goal was to catch,
Yellow perch.
yellow perch and white bass.
Yep.
And not do horrible in my kayak tournament coming up.
Man, I just want to catch fish, but I said I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to catch yellow perch on a spoon. So you guys pay attention next time. If I don't do it, I guess I owe you something. We'll see.
Well, you've been listening to the Whatever's Biting podcast. I hope you get out there and can catch whatever's biting. Oh, I just made that up.
Nice.
Good little outro right there. Leave your comments. Ethan's going to be picking a few comments and questions. If you're listening to this on the Creek Fishing Adventures YouTube channel, hopefully we will be on other places. But yeah, feel free to share, like, subscribe to Ethan's channel, which is Fish Anything. My channel, Creek Fishing Adventures. And yeah, this has been fun. I think we're going to get into a better rhythm. This one already feels like it went a whole lot better than the first episode. March is when I get really excited about fishing. So I'm excited about see what's what happens come March episode. So thanks everybody for watching and listening.